An unfairly dismissed nurse was tragically navigating a street when she unexpectedly encountered a disheveled gentleman writhing in agony. Little did she know how profoundly her existence was about to be reshaped. Before we proceed, kindly share the nation from which you're observing this narrative and confirm your subscription to the channel. Daily, I present captivating life sagas. Enjoy the unfolding story. The nascent morning rays struggled to penetrate the fractured window coverings. A somber atmosphere pervaded the dwelling. Ilara slowly roused, the weight of the impending workday pressing down. Her slender fingers instinctively sought the alarm clock, its hands inexorably advancing towards 6 in the morning. She rose, and the aged floorboards offered a soft protest beneath her bare feet. A swift ablution, an unadorned white uniform, typical of her profession. Her dark tresses were secured in a chignon. A familiar morning ritual. Ilara reminisced about her youth in a humble provincial hamlet. She understood that her struggles predated her arrival at the medical facility, originating in childhood. She had endured prejudice and disdain, largely due to her gait. Children frequently taunted her. Her parents, preoccupied with their own challenges, failed to fully acknowledge her distress. Ilara had often pondered the inherent injustice of the world. While serving as a caregiver, she frequently recalled how she persevered solely through her aspirations for the future, particularly after losing her parents. At the tender age of 17, she inherited a venerable abode. The walls of this residence became her sanctuary, and she endeavored to imbue it with warmth despite the stark realities of her circumstances. "Never lower your head," her mother had advised, "and perform your duties with integrity." These pronouncements became a guiding principle for Ilara within the clinic. She felt as though she were navigating a minefield. The chief physician, Anatoly Petrovich, was a true torment for junior staff. His gaze, as sharp as a surgical instrument, was perpetually poised to quash any hint of insubordination or independent thought. "Good morning, Ilara." She heard the familiar greeting of Svetlana, a fellow nurse with whom she had collaborated for an extended period. "Hello," Ilara responded wearily, arranging fresh linens on a bed. Svetlana indicated a demanding day lay ahead in the ward. Anatoly Petrovich was particularly agitated today. "I overheard whispers of an impending audit." Ilara remained silent, a tempest brewing within. She recalled her school days, the derision she faced for her family's poverty and her worn attire. She remembered the necessity of working after classes to support her parents. The diverse personalities of the patients presented a spectrum of human experiences. Some moaned softly in discomfort, others prayed for recovery, and some simply yearned for an end to their suffering. Ilara strove to offer genuine compassion to each individual, a quality sorely lacking within these sterile hospital walls. By midday, her resilience was at its breaking point. The incessant pressure, the apprehension of her superiors, the monotonous rhythm of hospital life all weighed upon her like an immense burden. During her respite, she felt compelled to confide in her close friend Svetlana. "I simply cannot comprehend his animosity towards me," Ilara stated, her gaze pleading with Svetlana. "I fulfill my responsibilities to the best of my ability. I do everything correctly." Svetlana, who had shared both joys and sorrows with Ilara, offered a sympathetic glance. "I don't know. However, not everyone possesses the capacity to appreciate the efforts of others. Perhaps Anatoly Petrovich simply derives satisfaction from perpetual discontent. You should focus solely on your own tasks and disregard his remarks." Ilara nodded, yet deep down, she recognized the immense difficulty of suppressing her emotions. She struggled to understand why an individual who should be her mentor exhibited such disdain for her endeavors. Could this truly be the pinnacle of my aspirations?" Ilara mused, wiping down the corridor floor. Her hands were calloused, her back ached from continuous strain. Nevertheless, the inner flame remained undimmed. The murmur of hushed voices captured Ilara's attention. She paused at the partially ajar door of the head physician's office, attempting to conceal her presence. "I implore you!" The woman's voice was barely a whisper. "My son faces dismissal and imprisonment. He succumbed to temptation once and drove under the influence, and now his entire future is jeopardized." Anatoly Petrovich's voice was cold and pragmatic. $500, no more, no less. Ilara felt a chill course through her being. The woman turned, her hands trembling as she proffered an envelope. "Here is the money. I beg you, help my son." Ilara retreated silently, her heart hammering so fiercely that she feared it could be heard in the hallway. She had inadvertently become a witness to a criminal act, the falsification of an official document in exchange for a bribe. An internal conflict raged within her. On one hand, professional ethics dictated immediate disclosure. On the other, the specter of job loss and Anatoly Petrovich's fury loomed large. What course of action should I take? Thoughts cascaded through Ilara's mind. She observed the woman's tears, the desperation in her eyes. She perceived the head physician's smirk, his blatant avarice. This moment felt like an irreversible turning point. Ilara finally grasped the true nature of the system within which Svetlana operated. Noticing Ilara's peculiar demeanor, Svetlana approached her. "What's wrong? You appear distressed." "I'm saying nothing," Ilara replied, feigning exhaustion. The remainder of the day, Ilara was torn between the urge to act and the fear of losing everything she possessed. Her hands trembled involuntarily as she changed bed linens. Anatoly Petrovich observed her intently on several occasions while she prepared medications for patients. By the conclusion of her shift, a single conviction had solidified. Remaining silent made her an accomplice, yet fear had rendered her will immobile. What would transpire if she revealed the truth? Who would offer her support? Ilara felt a shiver trace its path down her spine as Anatoly Petrovich's gaze bore down on her from behind his imposing oak desk. The morning light, along with other refractions, cast dark shadows that amplified the tension within the office. "I reviewed the surveillance footage. You were eavesdropping on my conversation yesterday." His voice was a low rumble, akin to an approaching thunderstorm. Ilara clenched her fists, striving to maintain composure. "I did not intentionally overhear," she stated quietly. "It was purely coincidental." Anatoly Petrovich rose abruptly, his imposing figure casting a shadow over Ilara. He let out a sardonic laugh. "You understand that your actions could jeopardize my reputation and my career." Two emotions warred within Ilara: the dread of this formidable man and an unyielding resolve to protect herself. "I will not disclose this to anyone," she attempted to appease him. Anatoly Petrovich, however, had already reached a decision. "Repeat this statement, and you will be terminated. I will be closely monitoring your conduct." Svetlana, standing in the hallway, witnessed the scene with a mixture of pity and admiration. She recognized Ilara's courage, yet she understood the silent cost. Emerging from the office, Ilara experienced a kaleidoscope of emotions: fear, anger, and a faint glimmer of hope deep within. On her journey home, she contemplated the day's events. The evening park exuded a tranquil charm, and pedestrians hurried about their affairs. Ilara walked, still grappling with the confrontation with Anatoly Petrovich, when she suddenly heard faint groans emanating from the trees. She spotted a man doubled over in sharp pain. Her professional instincts immediately engaged. Ilara approached, carefully assessing the stranger. The man appeared to be in his early 30s. He was pale and clutched his right side convulsively. "Do you require assistance?" Ilara inquired, settling beside him. The man wheezed, his voice barely audible. The agony was unbearable. Ilara swiftly evaluated his condition. Acute abdominal pain, severe discomfort in the right upper quadrant, symptoms necessitating immediate medical intervention. It could be appendicitis or another severe complication. "I am a nurse," she introduced herself. "My name is Ilara. I will summon an ambulance." "Sasha," the man whispered. "There's no need for an ambulance. I have no funds." His words resonated with familiarity. Ilara recalled the multitude of patients who harbored anxieties about medical expenses. However, professional ethics superseded personal fear. "I will help," she declared firmly. "You have nothing to fear with me. I will utilize the skills honed over years of practice." Her hands were accustomed to human suffering, yet each instance of profound personal empathy she experienced at the clinic was met by Svetlana, her fellow nurse, observing Ilara with a patient. Svetlana expressed surprise at the unfolding scene. Ilara offered a gentle smile. "I am simply doing my duty." The attending physicians promptly diagnosed acute appendicitis. The surgery was successful, attributed to the timely intervention. Anatoly Petrovich, the chief physician, expressed his displeasure. "You've brought a vagrant here. This is not a charitable institution." Ilara stood resolute, her gaze conveying more than words could articulate. She understood that every life held intrinsic value, irrespective of social standing. Sasha regained consciousness several hours later. A faint smile touched his lips, his exhaustion palpable in his eyes. Profound gratitude filled the following morning. Ilara faced Anatoly Petrovich's wrath. He made no attempt to conceal his fury, denouncing her actions as utterly unprofessional. "What were you thinking bringing that man to the clinic? You are tarnishing our reputation," he bellowed, his voice like a sudden tempest. "You are dismissed," he stated icily. "Effective immediately, your position at the clinic is eliminated." Ilara stood near the clinic's exit, the termination notice clutched in her hands. Anatoly Petrovich offered no opportunity for her to explain the perceived damage to the clinic's image. The official reason was cited, but Ilara knew the underlying cause. Her integrity and refusal to condone corruption had proven to be the final catalyst. The medical staff expressed their discontent. "Tell us about the patient without identification documents." But Ilara's professionalism and unwavering persistence prevailed. She effectively compelled them to examine the man, demonstrating a compassion rarely seen within the medical hierarchy. As she stepped outside, Ilara felt an unexpected sense of liberation. The years of apprehension and subservience were behind her. Her hands, no longer trembling from constant strain, now felt empowered and assured. She recalled her mother's words, "Honesty surpasses any monetary value." A phone call from her daughter interrupted her thoughts. The hospital's number appeared on the screen. "Where is Sasha?" Ilara inquired. "Lisa Andreevna, the patient Sergeyev is doing well," a nurse's voice informed her. "The physicians state that your prompt intervention saved his life." A warmth spread through her. A single act of kindness and professionalism had vanquished all fears and threats. She resolved to visit Sasha at the hospital, navigating the long corridors. Ilara found his room. Sasha lay beneath a crisp white blanket, his gaze fixed on the window. "Hello," Ilara said softly. Sasha turned, his eyes absorbing every detail. Fatigue and determination were evident. "You saved my life," he said, "and you lost your job." "I have no regrets," Ilara replied with firm conviction. "Sometimes the truth demands a significant price." A meaningful silence settled between them. Sasha extended his hand, his fingers brushing against hers. This simple gesture conveyed volumes: understanding, gratitude, and a nascent connection. They conversed extensively. Sasha recounted his experiences as a driver, his challenging life, and a near-fatal incident from his past. Ilara listened, feeling an invisible thread of mutual understanding weaving between them. "What will you do now?" Sasha inquired. Ilara smiled. "I will start anew," she replied. "I will help people to the best of my ability." The physicians indicated Sasha could be discharged in a few days, or perhaps even sooner. As she departed the hospital, Ilara sensed a transformation in her life. Her dismissal was not an end, but a commencement, the genesis of something novel, honorable, and authentic. Ilara carefully opened the door of her modest dwelling, inviting Sasha in upon his release from the hospital. He appeared fatigued, yet serene. She assisted him in settling onto the aged sofa, a piece inherited from her parents. He offered a grateful smile, his eyes brimming with warmth and appreciation. "Are you comfortable?" Ilara asked, adjusting the pillow. "More than comfortable," Sasha responded. I could not have imagined such comfort after all that has transpired." Their initial days together were not without their challenges. The neighbors regarded him with suspicion, a natural reaction to an unfamiliar presence. One evening, she remarked, shaking her head. Alara understood her neighbor's reservations but remained steadfast in her decision. She perceived Sasha as more than just a chance encounter. Sasha, sensing the underlying tension, endeavored to be as supportive as possible. He assisted with household tasks and prepared simple yet delicious meals whenever he secured temporary employment. One morning, Tatiana Mikhailovna discovered Sasha washing dishes and tidying the kitchen. Her initial wariness shifted to surprise. "Well, well," she murmured. "It appears there might be more to it." Ilara observed the gradual evolution in her neighbor's perception. While internal changes were occurring within Ilara, she felt the strain of recent months gradually dissipating. Her dismissal from the clinic, once a perceived catastrophe, now felt more like an emancipation. Sasha became her anchor, both physically and emotionally. They spent evenings in deep conversation, sharing their life stories. He spoke of his past wanderings, his unrealized aspiration to aid others, an ambition he could not fulfill at the clinic. "You haven't given up," he stated. "Up, Sasha, you've helped me, so your dream remains alive." Tatiana Mikhailovna, who had previously offered criticism, now presented them with homemade pies and inquired about their lives. Sasha even assisted her in hanging new curtains, for which he received a heartfelt thank you. In the evening, a sense of profound well-being settled upon her. Alara entered the house, setting down her heavy shopping bags. The silence was unnerving. Sasha was nowhere to be seen. A sudden wave of anxiety and a peculiar premonition washed over her. "Sasha," she called out as she moved through the small abode. The silence intensified her heart palpitations. Could he truly have departed after everything they had shared, after those tender evenings of conversation and shared aspirations? Alara searched the house, peering into the kitchen and the small bedroom. No sign of him. A peculiar sensation, a blend of apprehension and profound inner emptiness, overwhelmed her. Suddenly the front door creaked open and Sasha appeared, carrying several bags of groceries. He smiled. "Hello," he said. "Apologies. I was at the neighbors. They requested assistance with moving some items." Alara felt the tension within her recede dramatically. She moved closer, and Sasha noticed her worried expression. "What is it?" he asked. "I thought you had left," Alara admitted, fearing he had reconsidered his commitment to her. Sasha gently embraced her, drawing her near. His hands, though rough, were tender, conveying both care and steadfastness. "Could I possibly leave you?" he whispered, after all they had experienced together. They gazed at each other for a long moment, Sasha's eyes filled with affection, Alara's with gratitude and deep fondness. "I was assisting the neighbors," Sasha elaborated. "They are elderly and struggle with tasks on their own. Tatiana Mikhailovna remarks that I seem like a different person now." Ilara laughed, her laughter light and almost musical. She had endured so much in recent months, so much hardship. It felt almost surreal, peace, warmth, and affection. "You know," she said, "I believed my role at the clinic was my entire existence, but now I have you." Sasha gently kissed her hand. A unique silence descended between them, more eloquent than words. "I've wanted to offer you something for a while now," Sasha said, retrieving a small box from the pocket of his worn jacket. Alara held her breath. Sasha opened the box, revealing a simple yet exquisite wedding ring. "Marry me," he stated, his voice quiet yet firm. Tears of joy welled in Ilara's eyes. She understood their story was not merely a romance, but also a testament to overcoming adversity, a narrative of two solitary souls finding each other at their most vulnerable juncture. Their wedding was modest, but suffused with sincerity. Tatiana Mikhailovna, who had once been critical, now helped prepare refreshments. Svetlana, a former colleague from the clinic, assisted with the wedding arrangements. No one anticipated anything worthwhile from you, but you achieved it. Sasha is a good man, it's immediately apparent. Anatoly Petrovich, upon learning of their union, even dispatched a brief congratulatory note. Alara interpreted this as a form of validation for her choices, an unspoken apology for past indignities. Post-wedding, Sasha secured employment as an ambulance driver. Together, they resolved to dedicate themselves to serving others, nurturing a shared dream of making the world a slightly better place. The faint glow of a winter morning gradually illuminated the small room where Alara and Sasha slept, embracing. Sasha was the first to perceive a subtle tremor in Alara's hand and gently stroked her hair. "Good morning," he whispered. "How are you feeling?" Alara looked up, and Sasha saw a unique spark in her eyes, a reflection of deep inner strength and a hint of laughter. She smiled and placed her hand on her abdomen. "I have something to tell you," she said softly. At that moment, Sasha realized he was about to hear something significant. He sat attentively, gazing at Alara and gently squeezing her hand. "I'm pregnant," Alara exhaled. Sasha remained silent for a beat, processing the news. Then, his face illuminated with a genuine, expansive smile, making Alara realize this moment would forever alter their lives. Several months later, as Alara's pregnancy progressed, they often spent their evenings dreaming of the future, envisioning raising their child and the life that awaited them. "The most important thing is to be honest," Alara said, stroking her belly, "and not to be afraid of becoming better." Sasha nodded, kissing her hand. Their story was not just about love, but also about resilience, a testament to an individual's capacity for transformation and triumph over challenging circumstances. They gazed out the window as the first winter snowflakes swirled, symbolizing a new beginning, the inception of their meaningful shared life. Did you find this narrative engaging? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Your feedback is invaluable to us. Thank you for listening. Until our next encounter.